Hi again, folks. Gene Okerlund here on behalf of the World Wrestling Federation and Coliseum Home Video. This is a must to add to your video collection. WrestleFest 91, just packed with exclusives, including a new feature called Manager Camp. We focus on Jimmy Hart, and we get an inside look at what a manager goes through at ringside. Also, Brutus the Barber Beefcake sits us down in the old barber chair and gives a few exclusive grooming tips to you good fans at Coliseum Home Video.
Tell everybody, tell them all over the world who the new host for the Coliseum Video Spectacular is going to be, WrestleFest 91. Tell them who
I
it is.
was just about to add that the Macho Man will be guiding us through the upcoming WrestleFest 91.
Ooh, yeah, and it's my first Coliseum Video assignment, and I'm pumped up, Mean Gene. Ooh, yeah.
That's WrestleFest 91 with the Macho Man, available at your local video stores on July the 25th. It's an action-packed video for the entire family from the World Wrestling Federation and the good folks at Coliseum Home Video.
Coliseum Video to the WWF and everywhere in between, and I'm the host. Did you tell them that?
Coliseum Video fans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. And this second battle of the WWF Superstars Home Video is a winner.
Excuse me, General. Oh, excuse me.
30 years from now, when you're sitting around your fireplace with your grandson on your knee, and he asks you if you watched this second battle of the WWF Superstars, you won't have to say, well, I was watching reruns of The Simpsons. Now I'd be proud to lead you Coliseum Video fans into this battle of the WWF Superstars anytime, any place. But first, let's take a look at these little superstars. That's all. I don't like that one, Henry. How about from the shores of Montezuma, you know the rest. Well, that's what I call a fine fighting force. I got it, Henry. No problem. Got it.
Wide attention.
First of all, gentlemen, I want to congratulate you for volunteering for the second battle of the WWF Superstars. You look to be a fine bunch of men, and I am proud to march into battle with you. Good shape.
Thank you, sir.
Pull it in just a bit. Not gonna fall for that, huh? Good man. Are you in charge of this outfit?
Yes, sir.
They look like they're ready for action.
Always, sir.
Well, they are going to see a lot of it in the next couple of hours. Because, gentlemen, all your training, all your preparation is about to pay off. Let's get right into it with a Coliseum Video exclusive match involving the Intercontinental Champion, Mr. Perfect, and Rowdy Roddy Piper. Eyes straight, men, to watch the action.
The following contest is for the Intercontinental Championship, scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle with his perfect manager, Bobby the Brain Heenan, weighing 257 pounds. Here is the Intercontinental Champion,
Alfred Hayes, would you say we are looking at the definition of perfection?
I would say so, most definitely. The most talented and gifted wrestler within the ranks of the World Wrestling Federation. A superb, superb wrestler.
I don't think anyone would discount the fact that he is one of the most skilled superstars in the WWF, but whether or not he's perfect, I would say it's debatable.
I wouldn't say that was debatable at all. I would say that this man is the perfect example of what a World Wrestling Federation superstar should be.
Well, Your Lordship, I'm certain one thing we will agree on. We have a great match here, an exclusive encounter, the Coliseum Video. This is for the Intercontinental Championship. And there is Roddy Piper, who will make the challenge this day.
Sean, that is not only stirring music, but the very presence of Piper himself is stirring also.
I certainly love to hear the bagpipes, Lord Alfred Hayes.
I want to teach you a word that I'm sure you don't know. It's the skerl.
The skerl? I got to get the roll in there.
Well, that was very good. The skerl of the pipes.
And what exactly is the skerl of the pipes?
That is that wafting music, the way the pipes float over the air.
Well, it is certainly floating around here in Omaha, and the folks love it. There's a few people in the crowd with Scottish ancestry.
I would imagine many, many here with that particular blood in their veins. And they're really going to be stirred by this man. Roddy, the rowdy one, is certainly a very gifted wrestler also. A lot on the plate here for the champion. A big, big task on hand.
I don't believe Dave Hebner has to explain what is on the line in this match.
No.
Roddy Piper could walk away, the new Intercontinental Champion.
Piper's not going to wrestle with his kilt on, is he, Sean?
Whoa. Now, I'm not too up on Scottish etiquette, but I do believe one never looks under a man's kilt.
I would say that is just about the worst insult that could possibly be bestowed upon a Scot.
Hot Rod slowly taking the t-shirt off. Make sure he doesn't take his eyes away from Mr. Perfect.
That was indeed a very, very quick move there.
Oh, Mr. Perfect heaping the insults upon Piper, spits his gum in his face. Now slaps him. And Piper quickly answers back. Perfect can't get away fast enough. And now the Flawless One infuriated. I would say Piper has evened up the insults.
Definitely. He really was quick to be angered by those actions of Mr. Perfect, but even so, Piper sort of contained himself enough to really administer some devastating shots to Mr. Perfect.
Caught him, I would say, a little bit by surprise. Now back in. This match is underway. Perfect quickly slips behind Hot Rod, but Roddy fires an elbow to the jaw. Mr. Perfect takes him right off his feet.
And you can see some of the upper body strength of the Scot there in that back elbow knocked Mr. Perfect, as you say, Sean, right off his feet.
And Mr. Perfect showing that quickness. Sneaks in a few jabs, but Piper wants to make it clear he doesn't need any help. Sets the referee up on the top turnbuckle, and he has suddenly become a spectator.
Yes, actually, he's flirting with a disqualification there.
I think Hot Rod is saying you want to mix it up with the fists. Let's go at it.
Well, he's saying also that's emblematic of let's throw the rules out for this one. Throw them outside the ring. No referee. Look at Piper.
Stands toe-to-toe. Perfect steps out again. And that was an awfully quick in and out.
There were a lot of rights, a lot of lefts, all to the chin of the Perfect one, and I don't think he knows anything about boxing. He does know about wrestling. He's got to get this back on an even keel, somehow or other.
Quick conference with the brain. What do you imagine he had to say to Mr. Perfect there?
I would say slow the tempo down. He's a good manager, Heenan. Don't take the fight to Piper, let him come to you. And
they lock up again. Perfect. It's a handle on the hair. Good chop. Really hear the snap of those blows all the way up here. Right to the jaw, Mr. Perfect. Oh, having no effect, but Piper really goes after the flawless one. Over the top rope, drags him back in. And now being swung around by his hair.
Piper showing a great deal of diversity here. Firstly to the stomach, then to the head, and now the hair. And look at the situation Mr. Perfect finds himself in now. And a shot for Heenan, who was caught napping up on the apron there. Look out, Piper.
He's heading out of the arena. It gives Mr. Perfect a chance to attack Piper from behind, but he doesn't remain in control for long as Piper quickly turns it around. Locks the right. Well, he won't let him go down. Holding on to the tights like a rubber band as Mr. Perfect keeps bouncing back up into the blows. This time he lets him drop.
Piper should cover him right now. He's wasting time. He should have been there. He had really an excellent chance to finish this match off right there and then. And what a blow that would have been to the pride, not only of Mr. Perfect, but Heenan also. Now he's given a chance for Perfect to stage a semi-comeback here.
Elbow to the side of the head. Piper refuses to let go. And another elbow. Yanks the tights right off the flawless one. Right down to his shorts. And now tied up.
Oh, gosh, what a battle this is turning into. And everything is in favor of Piper until right just now. Maybe Piper made some sort of a slip there. Look what this is taking place.
Both Mr. Perfect and Roddy Piper established early on that anything goes in this match.
Yes,
and so far it has.
It has indeed. The referee seems to be just somewhat ineffectual here. Piper, first of all, had his own way by breaking all the rules, but now the referee has given Mr. Perfect a chance to come back and bend the rules himself.
Perfect into the ropes. Piper misses with a clothesline. They collide in the center of the ring. And both men down. And they look hurt.
And the referee's count is going on.
Just who suffered the most damage? That is the question.
It could have been Mr. Perfect, but he's the first to move, so... Oh, no, Piper's up.
Piper pops up, but it's Perfect who's on his feet. Not quite.
We got a good look at the eyes of Piper there. He seemed to be dazed, a little glazed.
Shot to the jaw, Piper down. He really caught him right in the center of the chin. That had to affect him right down to his toes, your lordship.
Definitely, and look at Mr. Perfect. He doesn't feel right unless he's got those spandex tights back on the leotard again. And Piper really suffering. That was a vicious kick.
Well, who knows what it could have gone next, Lord Alfred Hayes.
Yes.
Another kick to the midsection. Piper feeling the punishment, but holding on.
And he's showing the effect of those devastating blows too. He's out on his feet. I believe it's only his subconscious that keeps him working here.
And now the flawless one literally kicking Piper around the ring, brings him back to his feet. Snaps in a short jab to the jaw. Standing drop kick.
Nicely delivered right to the temple of Piper. Maybe not quite as much force as Mr. Perfect would have liked, but still devastating.
Now trying to remove the turnbuckle to expose the hard steel in that corner.
Which he has done.
I'm in.
The referee's counting, Piper saying he's in, but he obviously wasn't. Maybe he's a little more unconscious than we thought of.
Another chop to the throat. Mr. Perfect keeps up the onslaughts.
The perfect plex coming up. No, just a standing suplex.
And Piper uses a leverage, comes down, gets a count of 2. That's not exactly the way Mr. Perfect planned it. Rolls him up now. Back and forth between the 2 superstars. Comes over the sunset flip. Down goes Perfect. Can he keep the shoulders down? No.
Just one shoulder, Sean, not quite enough. And look at the action from these 2 men now. My word, both of them have had great chances to finish this match off. Oh, neck breaker.
And you talk about a pace set by these 2 superstars. Piper catapulted on top of the referee. Can't really tell how hurt he is, but this match has really gone out of control now. Piper into the steel in the corner.
Piper saw that steel coming at his face. He tried to protect it with his left hand. It didn't work. He hit it with his forehead. And now here's a golden opportunity for Mr. Perfect to finish him off.
Piper looks to be unconscious. Referee Dave Hebner making some ruling here.
What?
Quite make out what it is. We have not heard a bell, so this match continues.
I don't think he did make a ruling there. He was a little confused, I believe, as to who took that turnbuckle cover off.
Now you're gonna see
And Piper still looks to be out.
Completely
Perfect
out.
should go for the cover. But
Yes,
no, he wants to deliver the perfect plex.
You're absolutely right, Sean. He should have just laid on top of him. Look at him. He's trying to get him into that situation. He's got him.
Locks it in. This could be it for Roddy Piper. Down he goes. This is 1, 2. No! Somehow during that exchange, as Mr. Perfect set Hot Rod up, he came to and kicked out just at the last second.
Well, obviously, Mr. Perfect didn't have him perfectly timed.
Sending him into the turnbuckle. Piper gets the hands up just in time. Resisting. And now, Piper, enraged, going wild in the squared circle. Mr. Perfect, hard into the turnbuckle.
Piper made some great defensive moves there, and now he's made some great offensive moves, and Mr. Perfect's on the run.
The battle goes outside of the ring. Perfect into the steel stairs at ringside.
And Piper seems to be completely recovered now. What incredible resilience this man has.
Takes him all the way around the ring and is introducing him just about every steel object he can find. Now whipping him with a belt.
Oh my word, that leather belt and the buckle end. He's really flaying Mr. Perfect. Perfect running for cover. And the referee, I don't know whether he should disqualify Piper or not. But obviously he has an arm on the barrier by Mr. Perfect. Back and
But
forth.
Alfred Hayes this long ago stopped resembling a match. This is an all-out war between Roddy Piper and Mr. Perfect up on the top rope. Piper knocks him loose. And he comes down hard on the top turnbuckle.
We do have a decision by the referee here. What exactly is it?
Well, we are waiting for the official word, but Roddy Piper believes he has won this match. Let's get the decision from Howard Finkel.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has awarded the decision as a result of a countout to Roddy Piper.
Well, a victory here for Roddy Piper, but it will not allow him to walk away the Intercontinental Champion. Just misses Mr. Perfect as he comes in with the Intercontinental belt. And the battle ensues.
Oh, gosh. The midsection right to that steel steps there. I still cannot understand that decision by the referee. He did count out. Oh, my word, what a shot by Piper with that heavy gold belt.
The steel of the Intercontinental belt slammed into the forehead of Mr. Perfect. You saw the collision. And Roddy Piper may not walk away the Intercontinental champion, but he certainly has proven a big point in this match against the Flawless One.
A tremendous victory by Piper, but really a great bout also. Both men had great chances to win this by a sheer 1, 2, 3. However, they didn't do that. Piper walks away the victor.
Well, nothing's better for the morale of the men than a letter from home. And since I happen to be rifling through the mail, it also happens to be time for our fan favorite match. Now, if there's an encounter you'd like to see included in an upcoming Coliseum video, write to 430 West 54th Street, New York, New York, 10019. Now, going through all these letters, I couldn't help but notice this postcard from a young private Kevin Roback. And he'd like to see an encounter involving the Bushwhackers against the Nasty Boys. Well, Kevin, you're going to enjoy this order. Watch this action-packed tag team matchup.
The following tag team contest is scheduled for one fall.
Quite a crowd here tonight, Lord Alfred Hayes here at Madison Square Garden.
The mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, from Allentown, Pennsylvania, at a total combined weight of 546 pounds, the Nasty Boys.
Boy. Really don't have to hear the names to recognize just who the Nasty Boys are. They begin to raise a ruckus the second they step into an arena, bothering and abusing people on the way in, hurling verbal insults. I'm not going to tell you what they said about you.
You won't tell me against them no matter what you say, because I respect them for what they do inside the ring.
You always say. Well, there are the Bushwhackers. You certainly have to respect what the Wild and Woolly pair from New Zealand do in the ring. Bushwhackers say, we love you.
Is that what they say?
Huh?
Is that what they say, we love you?
Never heard that before. They kind of say, whoa.
Yes.
How does that translate?
Is that some sort of Maori chant? Maybe this is a Maori dance that they do, the Bushwhacker Stomp.
You would think perhaps they learned that in New Zealand.
Yes. I think maybe they did from the Maoris.
So you're saying the Maoris started the perhaps aerobic classes long before they came to the United States?
Yes. Well, maybe not.
I think they learned this custom at home. Maybe that's from, like, licking shaved sheep. I'm not going to take that any further.
No, no, please don't, please don't. Let us get into the pith of this bout. That was a bad joke.
Oh, Alfred. Nasty Boys seem to have gotten more than the Bushwhackers upset with them in this encounter. So Jerry Sagser arguing with a few of the folks looking on here at Madison Square Garden. You want to mess with this crowd. There's some rough people out there.
There certainly, yes, there certainly are some rough people out there. But they certainly know they're wrestling also here in the Garden. And they have come to appreciate what the Bushwhackers do. They've realized that all that unpredictable moves that they perform inside the ring have paid off.
Brian Knobbs really taking it to Butch right now. Has him trapped in the corner. Oh, excuse me, that's Luke. Tough look from here.
Difficult to tell those two
angle.
apart. They're both as ugly as each other.
Jerry Sags checks in and he's about to check out at the hands of Butch. Collision between the Nasty Boys. Here's the double clothesline. Jerry Sags unwisely comes back in. And the Bushwhackers have cleared the ring. of all that is nasty.
Yes, and 20,000 people here up on their feet for the Bushwhackers. And they certainly have impressed everybody here, including, obviously, you, Sean, and myself, too. Great stuff by the Bushwhackers.
Now, we have been hearing for months now, since the arrival of Brian Knobbs and Jerry Saggs, they were going to take an express to the top. They are having some trouble tonight, up against a very tough obstacle known as the Bushwhackers.
Yes, already they seem to have met more than their match against the Bushwhackers, although here comes Saggs, piling on a little pressure.
Double axe handle to the head of Butch. He better work on another area, because it's tough to hurt the Bushwhackers above the shoulders.
Yes, it is. Their faces bear the scars of many, many encounters, and I don't think they've ever been hurt in those encounters.
Crowd clearly behind the Bushwhackers. A lot of Bushwhackaroos here in New York City. Knee to the midsection. Butch follows it up with another right to the chest. Slingshot.
Oh,
Right
great
clothesline. Here's a cover. But Brian Knobbs slips in to break it up, and he is going to pay for it. Oh. Here's a human battering ram. Right to the midsection. One for Saggs and one for Knobbs.
And once again, yes.
The Nasty Boys kiss the arena floor.
They do. They clear the ring, the Bushwhackers, of all their opposition. And Jimmy Hart must be wondering what on earth is happening here.
And it is clear the Nasty Boys are very frustrated with this unpredictable pair. You never know what Luke and Butch are going to do next, and that has certainly been the key to their success.
It has indeed. Great happiness we saw just then on that close-up of Butch's face. Luke back in now.
Imagine you could compare it to battling a southpaw if you're a boxer. You just can never quite get set up
No,
to
or
move
know
in
where
for
it's
the
coming
kill.
from, yes.
Luke gets caught up in the ropes there. Oh, Brian Knobbs accomplished what he set out to do. He distracted Luke so that Saggs could really come in and nail him. We didn't catch that, not on camera, but Saggs, or Brian Knobbs, got Luke with the chair at ringside. And Butch is being backed out by the referee. So
he rammed it into his back, Sean.
Now they continue to work on that area. Another shot to the kidney. That is where they are going to do some damage if they are going after the Bushwhackers. As an act of defiance. Brian Knobbs from behind, and Butch really upset at this point. And his interference is just allowing the Nasty Boys to do even more damage to Luke.
And that could possibly cost them this match, because they really have beaten up, just
got the foot up.
Because they really have beaten Luke to a pulp there in the ring.
Forearm to the side of the head. Now Luke sent it hard into the corner. Boy, did he come bounding out of there. Brian Knobbs gets Butch with a right. Now comes across with a Boston Crab. Elbow hard across the spine. Knobbs checks out, Saggs checks in, and here's another cover. And once again, Luke gets the foot up onto the rope. The only thing that saved him.
Which goes to show that he's not really cloudy in the head. It's just that he's taken such a battering physically. He must be feeling that.
Oh, there comes a flying Jerry Saggs, trying to drill Luke with an elbow. He missed completely and got the turnbuckle. He looks to be hurt. In comes Butch, and he's had a lot of time to save up for this confrontation. Elbow right to the jaw. Again. Now he goes after Jerry Saggs. And both Nasty Boys down.
And Butch making a tremendous account of himself. He goes for a cover. But just a little bit too early. He really didn't take into account the fact that Sags was still quite fresh on the outside.
Well, the Nasty Boys take tag team to its limits. Always in and out, helping one another. Here's a cover, and this time it is Luke who breaks it up. And now it's a brawl in the ring. Jerry Sags sends Luke into his corner.
The referee with a mighty task on his hands here to keep these four in control.
Look at this!
And he's got him down!
Butch hits the midsection, Luke hooks a leg. Oh, looked to be over there. Dave Hebner losing total control of this encounter.
It is an awful, difficult job for Hebner to try and keep this
They should
under
have
control.
two referees in this encounter, Lord Alfred Hayes. Another cover here, hooks a leg, clearly has Brian Knobbs. But Jerry Sags off the top rope really got Butch, and here's a cover by Brian Knobbs, just laid him across. And totally out of control in this battle. Could have gone either way.
Winners, the Nasty Boys.
And the Nasty Boys certainly lived up to their reputations today in this battle. Now, when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, the bigger man doesn't always have the advantage, as we're about to find out in this encounter between Bret the Hitman Hart and the Barbarian. Bret the Hitman Hart, Your Lordship, I'm sure you would agree, has been on fire since his return to singles competition.
Yes, he has. He's going to shake up the ranks of the World Wrestling Federation. This man is so gifted. He is so talented, and he has that elusive quality known as the excellence of execution.
Yes, but can he execute the Barbarian?
We're going to find out. Not many have been able to do that. In fact, very, very few indeed.
The massive Barbarian, one of the most devastating superstars the World Wrestling Federation has.
Sean,
Under the direction of Bobby the Brain Heenan, he becomes even more dangerous.
Yes. Sean, would you say that if Bret Hart got past the Barbarian here today, that everything would be open to him?
Well, it would certainly make the Hitman and his abilities look very good here in the WWF, and I would not be surprised if he would be in hot pursuit of the Intercontinental Championship, which is currently won by Mr. Perfect.
Yes, I could say that he could rise to any height. However, here is one huge obstacle in his way to that dream, in the form of the Barbarian.
Just think of some of the other gargantuan individuals here in the WWF, like the Warlord, for example, or the Earthquake.
Well, quite honestly, Sean, I really think that he will have more trouble.
Big clothesline drops the Hitman to the canvas. Didn't mean to interrupt you there,
it's
Your
okay,
Lordship.
that's fine, you go ahead. I think he'd have more trouble against the Barbarian than he would against the Warlord. The Barbarian's a crafty wrestler and a very, very accomplished wrestler.
And it seems as though he is devoid of any emotion at all. No conscience whatsoever.
That is one of his assets, definitely.
So he shows no mercy, as he's doing right now to Bret the Hitman Hart.
One of his most commendable weapons is that
Commendable?
Yes, I think so, don't you?
Oh, well, you didn't finish your thought there.
Is that indifference to anybody else's suffering? It doesn't handicap him in any way in the ring.
Hard chop to the throat, snaps the Hitman's head back, and then he is snapped back into the corner.
Good move by
As
Barbarian.
Bret Hart tried to reverse, and it backfired.
It certainly did. Barbarian swung that against him and used all that impetus he'd worked up to sling him right back into the corner.
Dragged to his feet, and the Hitman grabbed a hold of his back in the small area there. Must have suffered some punishment. Now he's slammed to the canvas on his back, and now the Barbarian off the second rope. Walks and misses. Took a long time to get there, and that gave the Hitman just enough time to recover and get out of the way.
I think
Blocks
Bob-
are right there. Saw it coming, and now he really fires back. A series of blows to the forehead, but the Barbarian still on his feet. Reverse atomic drop.
And I think Barbarian was a little too confident before this happened. And he was taking his time trying to measure everything for maximum impact, but he's on the receiving end.
Barbarian still very strong even after taking all that damage. Now off the second rope. The Hitman drives an elbow right to the forehead. Is it enough? No. Hitman must have known better than that.
Yes. I think that was just a token cover. I'm sure he knew
Flying
Barbarian.
clothesline. Oh, just gets the shoulder up. Didn't quite have the rubber band slingshot that he usually gets when Jim the Anvil Neidhart sets him up for that move.
I really like Hart. He takes advantage.
Oh, power slam.
Wow.
Hooks a leg. And Bret Hart reaches down somewhere and gets the energy to kick out.
And only just in time, too. Bret Hart takes every opportunity he can to cover an opponent. He doesn't give him any breathing space at all, but Barbarian seems to have recovered now. Not completely,
Forearm
though.
across the back of the head. Trying to bring him up here for the pile driver, and that is a lot of weight. Comes over with a sunset flip. Can he win this leverage battle? Barbarian reaching from above. Wants a count. Bret Hart brings the legs up, grabs the shoulders. Can he hold him? And what an incredible victory here for Bret the Hitman Hart.
And what a lapse of concentration by the Barbarian. Let's get the official word on this.
And Lord Alfred Hayes, we learned quite a lesson here. The smaller, skilled superstar comes out on top over the massive and strong Barbarian.
And let's see what happened here. The Barbarian took time out to showboat, and that was his undoing. Bret Hart with a brilliant victory. What a career this man's going to have as a singles competitor.
General, field report, sir.
I've been waiting for this. This is the point in the tape where the going gets tough. It is time for the second Battle of the WWF Superstars trivia test. Now, we've enlisted some superstars to test your knowledge of the World Wrestling Federation. It is not going to be easy, but keep in mind, if you get all the questions right, you'll be in line for a promotion.
Yo, all you Coliseum Video Hulkamaniacs! I've got a trivia twister for all you Hulkamaniacs out there. When I made my return to the WWF to face the earthquake, what was the official symbol of all of you Hulkamaniacs? Think about it for a minute. Yo, Hulkamaniacs, here's the official answer to the Coliseum Video Trivia Twister, man. The Hulk Rules Friendship Bracelet was the official symbol of all you Hulkamaniacs. The Maniacs wore them with pride and inspired Hulk Hogan to new heights. What you gonna do when Hulkamania rules forever?
Did you get that one? I did. Take a shot at this question. What tag team was known as the Pink and Black Attack? The Hart Foundation is the tag team known as the Pink and Black Attack. Now here's one from Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Hey, let's see how smart you humanoids are. I know the answer to this one. Let's see if you do. Why was the boss man on my case? Why was he so upset with Bobby the Brain Heenan? Let's see if you know the answer. Did you get it? Did you get it? No, you didn't get it. You're too stupid to get it. But I'll tell you, the reason the boss man is so upset with me is because I made some remarks about his lovely mother. Well, I apologize, and I'd like to apologize again to boss man and his lovely mother, whoever she is.
Get that one? Bobby sure did. Well, keeping within the realm of Bobby Heenan, what is the name of Mr. Perfect's finishing move? The Perfect Plex is Mr. Perfect's finishing move. How about this trivia twister from Jake the Snake Roberts?
I've got a trivia question for you Coliseum Video fans. It's a painful one, but do you remember what caused me to lose my vision? Well, believe me, I remember. I remember all too well. It was a low-down trick by Rick the Model Martel and that arrogant spray. But you know something? I did get even with him at WrestleMania 7.
Perfect score. The last one from Jake the Snake Roberts was a tough one. But as we're about to find out, he's even tougher in the ring. Let's take a look at an encounter involving the Snake when he stepped into the squared circle with one half of the dreaded tag team, the Orient Express, when he meets up with Kato.
This contest is scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle, accompanied by his manager, Mr. Fuji, and fellow partner Tanaka from Japan, weighing 240 pounds, from the Orient Express, Kato.
It is always interesting to see a superstar who is involved primarily in tag team competition take a single step on his own and get involved in singles competition. And that is what we are about to witness here today.
Well, Tanaka, we know he's a fine singles wrestler, but Kato, who is going to star in this particular match, he could provide a very rude awakening for Jake the Snake Roberts.
Now, why would you think for 1 second, Lord Alfred Hayes, that this superstar,
Jake the Snake Roberts,
thank you, Howard Finkel, would underestimate his opponent for 1 second? After all, he is a student of the snake, and snakes never underestimate their prey.
Well, he is a humanoid. I beg your pardon, a human. And he is liable or apt to make mistakes. And I wouldn't mind betting 1 iota that he really hasn't taken the performance of Kato away from that of Tanaka. He's only seen them as a team.
Well, one thing Kato has shown us in his tag team matchups is that he is certainly loyal to his tag team partner Tanaka, and he is also very powerful. Goes right after Jake with a double wrist lock, but Jake turns it around and really has a tight grip. Kato attempting to do anything to escape, goes over the top rope, but is dragged back in. And your lordship, I think we are going to find out a lot of answers in this Coliseum Video exclusive between these two individuals. We will see if Kato has what it takes for singles competition.
I'm sure we will. A lot of tenacity on the part of the Snake there.
Jake holding on tight. Lifts Kato right off his feet, and again. And then just catapults him over, where he lands on his back.
Some really good aggressive moves being shown at the moment by Roberts, and Mr. Fuji doesn't like that, and neither does Tanaka.
Little devious conference there at ringside.
There was a conference.
Snake a little outnumbered here. Got two adversaries at ringside as well. Kato trying everything. Jake refuses to let go of that left arm.
Well, the referee admonishes Roberts there quite rightly, and he should be again telling him to break that hold. That was a deliberate use of a closed fist.
When he does let go, he does it in a big way as Kato takes a shot in the chin. It sends him right out of the ring.
Some words of encouragement there from Tanaka, maybe a little advice. Roberts at the moment right on top and in control of this match. It may not stay that way for long, though.
They lock up again. Jake goes right after that arm. And again has the wrist. Kato fell right into that move, came up behind. Jake snapped him with an elbow. Mr. Fuji not pleased.
No, Jake is very, very sharp, very alert, making some real head-up moves in this match. But here is an opportunity for Tanaka to break those defenses. Well, it didn't work. Oh, good move by Roberts.
Tries to draw Jake the Snake Roberts in, but he saw it coming. Almost got the DDT there. Good tough going so far for one half of the Orient Express.
You know something, I suspect here, I believe that they've been working on trying to avoid the DDT, that is Tanaka and Kato, and maybe Tanaka has told Kato to maybe concentrate too fully on avoiding that match. He should go for some more aggressive offensive moves.
Well, I mentioned that Jake the Snake Roberts had to keep an eye on Tanaka and Mr. Fuji, but let's not forget the fact that the crowd here is clearly behind Jake Roberts. And when Kato attempted to sneak into the ring, Jake was clearly warned by his fans. A right to the chin again, down goes Kato. Knee to the jaw. Kato not remaining on his feet for long, almost gave a victim of the DDT. Now doing anything just to get free of Jake Roberts. Once again, he makes his way to the refuge of his manager and his tag team partner.
I'm very surprised at this, Sean. Everything has been a defensive move by Kato, and he really is concentrating too much on defense. He should be a little more innovative and start some attack, maybe like that.
First real good shot that Kato has gotten in this encounter. Brings up the knee as Jake comes flying in, and it found its mark.
Just look at where those blows were aimed, just below the sternum of Roberts, and you can do a lot of damage with that type of a blow. And again, in that same spot.
And Kato showing off a bit of that martial arts that both he and his tag team partner are so well experienced in. Mr. Fuji comes up behind Jake the Snake Roberts. Snap that cane across the neck. That may have been the spot where the Snake was cut for surgery when he had his discs removed.
I can't comment on that. All I know is that Roberts should have been keeping his eyes open there. Surely he knows by now what Fuji is capable of on the outside. I mean, the Snake is a very veteran wrestler, and he should know that.
And now Tanaka gets in his shot. And Jake really taking on three individuals here. Not only does he have to contend with the devious one, Mr. Fuji, his great knowledge of the ring, as well as the ability to take a shot at an individual at any given moment. Kato wanting to capitalize here. Off the rope, drops an elbow, tries to cover here.
Sean, I do believe that Tanaka and Mr. Fuji have evened this match up now. They've given a chance for Kato to come on a lot more strongly than he was before. And now he has Jake in a very, very compromising neck hold there.
Well, I think if Lucifer were out of the bag, this match would be evened up real quickly.
Oh, gosh!
Drives Kato's head into the top of the Snake's head. It really snapped his chin back. And now Jake comes back with a flurry of blows. Kato visibly shaken. But Jake Roberts not about to let up. Short arm clothesline. Mr. Fuji and Tanaka watch helplessly at ringside. And now, we know what that signifies. He wants to drop in the DDT. He's got a hold of him. Tanaka was not going to stand there and watch.
And once again, the referee's attention distracted. And Jake showed us what great resiliency he has. His ability to fight back against adversity was clearly shown then. But look at this, he's on the receiving end again. Oh, DDT!
And really drives Kato to the floor. Tanaka. Doesn't matter at this point whether or not Kato has a chance in this match, because now Mr. Fuji and Tanaka both in the ring. But this isn't what they had planned. Jake has enough for all three men. Clothesline, Tanaka. He's gone. Mr. Fuji still in the ring, but he had better find legs quickly. Out comes Lucifer. Now Mr. Fuji running back into the locker room area.
Look at Fuji run!
The winner of this bout, as a result of a disqualification, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Seeing a bit of justice here, Mr. Fuji on the run. Jake the Snake Roberts has Lucifer in his hands. And he has a big victory here, not only over Kato, but Tanaka and the Devious One. Jake the Snake Roberts, victorious this day.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan, one proud individual. I would have relished in the opportunity to have commanded him.
Let's change it. Right shoulder, arm.
I could go on and on about this fine American, but right now let's take an up-close and personal look at this shining superstar with an exclusive profile. We'll start where it all began, upstate New York, when he was just a raw recruit.
Yeah.
Hello! Hey, folks. Oh, Hacksaw Jim Duggan here, and I can't help but get a little teary-eyed when I think about it. It all started in a small little town in upstate New York on a cold winter's night when old Seesaw, as they used to call me, picked up my first piece of wood. Well, it's been a long road since then, and I want to welcome you to Hacksaw's Hall of Fame. It's a little shabby now. We'll fix it up later, but I got a lot of exciting boards inside. Come on in and take a look, tough guy. Well, folks, my first board is this board right here, my old Cub Scout board. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to be square and obey the laws of the pack. Something important to remember, and this is something always good to have by your side. Now, board number 2. This board here is a fancy day autograph board by all the big movie stars in Hollywood. You got Woody from Cheers. You got James Wood, the dramatic actor. You got Frank Sinatra. He's chairman of the board. That's my autograph board. Now, board number 3. Now, this board may look plain, but actually is one of the most important boards in Hacksaw Jim Duggan's collection. Because this board right here is the exact board Hulk Hogan gave me right before I took on Sergeant Slaughter. Let's take a look at that right now, tough guy.
Getting a nice behind-the-scenes look here of Sergeant Slaughter as he makes his way out into the arena for this matchup. Being led by General Adnan. Getting a look now at the notorious Sergeant Slaughter. Obviously bothered by this crowd here in New York City. Hello, everyone. I'm Sean Mooney. Alongside me, Lord Alfred Hayes. I want you to stand at attention, won't you?
That wasn't me who was addressing, it was you, Sean. However, I did stand at attention, just in case.
When he gets that close, I think you better obey his orders. Especially when he's carrying that riding crop, which he wields.
See, there
so
you are.
Freely.
Pointing to you, Sean. That was quite clear.
Well, here at the broadcast table, we're fighting for elbow room with Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon, who are also broadcasting tonight for the Armed Forces Network. And Alfred Hayes, you're going to have to contend with the Brain, I think, throughout the evening.
I think so. This is, we should point out, one of the matches that the Armed Forces Network especially asked for, and it's a flag match, of course. Sergeant Slaughter.
Well, would you like to explain the rules of this flag match between Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Demented Drill Sergeant?
Well, it really means that to say, here comes this man, look at him. We'll look at him very briefly before I do go into that.
Capacity crowd here at Madison Square Garden, and they're all on their feet with the arrival of Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And that looks to be like a new board he is carrying with him, and he is set to put a few marks on it.
Yes, he is. My word, he's really looking so sharp, so alert, so heads up here, full of spirit. I was going to say the rules are quite simply whoever wins this match gets to raise their country's colors, their flag. In this case, of course, it would be the United States of America. Old Glory.
Well, Hacksaw Jim Duggan confident he is going to be seeing the red, white, and blue flying high here at the Garden at the completion of this battle. Dare I say this is a wrestling match, Lord Alfred Hayes? More like a war.
I think so, definitely. This is going to be a war.
We haven't even heard the bell yet.
No, I don't think there'll be any quarter.
That's a nice look at Old Glory. You mentioned Lord Alfred Hayes. A lot of flags flying here. You can feel the excitement, the anticipation. Wait a minute, I recognize that back. It is one of the broadest in the World Wrestling Federation, and it belongs to none other than Hulk Hogan. And look at the folks here at Madison Square Garden as they welcome the Hulkster as he makes his way out to the ring to give his support to one Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Sean, the Hulkster is replete with his battle fatigues. I would say that he's all ready for this war.
Certainly is, and the Demented Drill Sergeant may have General Adnan. I think as far, if I were Hacksaw Jim Duggan, I would certainly rather have the Hulkster backing me up.
Well, I would certainly say suddenly this has become more of a one-sided battle than it possibly could have been. Hacksaw, with that man in his corner, must stand an excellent chance of giving the sergeant what for.
Well, Hulk Hogan here to make sure it stays one-on-one. General Adnan has been known to get involved from ringside. That's with nice backup troops.
I would say that would be the undoing of Sergeant Slaughter and his entourage if that happens, because if Adnan gets into the ring, surely that man, Hulk Hogan, will get into the ring also.
Well, Your Lordship, Hulk Hogan recently completed a tour, USO tour, of many of the bases right here in the United States. He wanted to go overseas to the Middle East, but was not allowed to because of the situation over there. But he certainly met a lot of the folks in the armed forces right here in the States and put a lot of smiles on their faces.
Yes, absolutely. We did a magnificent job in the Middle East as it was. They didn't need Hulk Hogan's help out there, but he certainly boosted everybody's morale just the same way as he is doing right here today.
Perhaps it would have been over a lot sooner if he had been over there.
It may have been. He probably would have dragged out Saddam by the scruff of the neck.
You can never underestimate Hulkamania.
No, definitely not.
Looks like we're about to get underway. No bell as of yet. The Hulkster clears the ring. He will not go too far.
No, definitely won't be straying very far from the side of Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who is very, very animated and very, very up for this match against Sergeant Slaughter. The redoubtable Sergeant, of course, the champion, a great, great wrestler in his own right.
You talk about reinforcements. Every person in this building ready to join forces with Hacksaw Jim Duggan if necessary. I would say General Adnan and Sergeant Slaughter are blatantly outnumbered. Hacksaw goes right after Sergeant Slaughter, and blow after blow finally let Sergeant Slaughter drop.
And they were so beautifully administered, right to the neck and the side jaw.
That's something extra there. The Sergeant left a hand in the ring, and it was fair game as far as Hacksaw was concerned.
Yes, he just crunched all those knuckles there on the left hand of the Sergeant, having crunched the jaw and left part of the neck too. Superb stuff by Slaughter.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan, well aware of the tactics that Sergeant Slaughter is capable of using. And as far as the superstar from upstate New York is concerned, he's willing to fight fire with fire. He'll get down and dirty if necessary.
The Hawks are keeping a very, very sharp eye on what is happening here, although at the moment everything has gone in the favor of the big man from New York, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
They lock up. Quite a struggle here between these two massive superstars. A lot of girth between the two. Sergeant Slaughter shoves Hacksaw back, but he comes right after him. A warning from Dave Hebner, the referee. Not quite sure what the caution was.
No, I'm not sure either. I really don't understand that one. But I did notice something there. The sergeant leaned out of the ring for advice from General Adnan. What sort of advice could he give you?
Especially the fact that I've never heard him speak English.
Maybe the sergeant speaks that whatever language he is. I believe it's Farsi he speaks.
Well, so far, see, we haven't seen a whole lot between these two superstars. Down goes the sergeant. Hacksaw having a lot of effect with that right.
And everything else he's done too.
Yes. Slaughter hard into the turnbuckle. And Hacksaw in pursuit.
Just relentlessly pursuing his man. Oh my word! Over the top of the turnbuckle that time, right into the steel corner post.
He also took a good blow to the midsection as he went careening into that ring post. Hard into the ropes. Backdrop. And Slaughter down hard on the canvas. Oh, dangerous territory as he attempts to roll out. The Hulkster was right there.
Face to face with the Hulkster. That could have been a pleasant sight for the sergeant. He's really being punished and pummeled from every quarter here. Hacksaw seems to have his number so beautifully timed.
Hard into the corner. Hacksaw goes down, but is quickly met with Sergeant Slaughter's boot, and now the table is turning. And Slaughter is on the offensive.
And the champion there showing what great resiliency he does have, and his determination to fight back under all odds. You have to compliment this demented man in many ways. He really took a tremendous amount of
Hacksaw in dangerous territory. General Adnan getting in a few shots. Hulk Hogan comes over to loudly protest. And all that does is alerts Dave Hebner, and now he has not seen one bit of these activities in the corner of Sergeant Slaughter. Kind of worked against him, Your Lordship.
Yes, it did. Look at Hacksaw, though. He's showing tremendous signs of a lot of wear and tear at the hands of the sergeant now. And you don't often see Hacksaw in this sort of condition where he's being battered remorselessly by the sergeant. He's trying to psych himself back into a state, though, of physical well-being.
Hacksaw with a big right and a left, and keeps up the assault. Slaughter reverses. Hacksaw into the corner, now tries to bring him down with a sleeper hold.
Some great moves by the sergeant, and it looks as if he may have Hacksaw in a compromising position here. Beautifully locked in by Slaughter. And Hacksaw suffering here, and nothing Hulk can do about it.
Hacksaw a long way from the rope and Hulk Hogan. And as Your Lordship, as you mentioned, Sergeant Slaughter really has that sleeper hold cinched. He is not about to let go, hoping to get a submission here.
But Hulk Hogan, he's offering some prayers of his own, a lot of advice, and maybe some moral encouragement for Hacksaw that he might be able to profit by.
Hoping to transfer some of the power of the Hulkamaniacs here at Madison Square Garden. Pass it on right to Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Get him back on his feet and away from Sergeant Slaughter.
And if anybody can give you that inspiration, of course it could be the Hulk. But Hacksaw looks into being into a lot of trouble.
Referee moves in.
Hebner tests that arm. That was two, but the third one stayed there, so he's up on his feet. Maybe just a breath safer.
Gets loose, uses a leverage. Drives Sergeant Slaughter once again into the ring post. And now Sergeant Slaughter really feeling the effects of that steel.
Oh, a beautiful trap baited there by the sergeant. And Hacksaw took that hook, line, and sinker, came down. He's already been beaten very, very much indeed, but both men slow, awfully slow, tantalizingly slow to get to their feet.
And back and forth. Now Sergeant Slaughter getting the best of Hacksaw. Drives the knee into the kidney area.
A blatant transgression of the rules there by the sergeant. He is flirting slightly in danger of being disqualified, but not too much.
As the boos resound here in the Garden, Hacksaw Jim Duggan trying to reach down. Slaughter letting Hacksaw get back to his feet. It's a surprising move.
Well, I think he's just looking for a better opening there so he can get more force.
Backbreaker.
Nicely executed by the sergeant, who doesn't seem to have lost all his power, or rather, may I say, he seems to have reacquired that power.
Gets a full count of 2 before Hacksaw draws enough power to kick out. Sergeant Slaughter, your lordship, looking quite confident at this point.
He's looking very confident indeed. Hacksaw in very, very dire trouble here. Nothing the Hulkster can do. I know the Hulkster would rather be in there himself.
Sergeant Slaughter now measuring his shots. Now going up. All the way to the top rope. Hacksaw still down. Down hard. Boot right to the sternum.
Great move there by the sergeant. Took his time, measured that one precisely. He's in complete control. He's exercising a lot of patience and discipline. He's got him.
Another cover.
Oh, no. Where did Hacksaw find the ability to kick out of that one from?
Time and time again, Hulk Hogan turns his back on the ring. It turns out to be a big mistake. As Sergeant Slaughter boots him in the back of the head. And the Hulkster is down at ringside.
And that was a hard shot. The Hulkster didn't expect that at all.
Hulk Hogan goes right after Sergeant Slaughter, pushes him from behind. And he misses the target.
And he seemed to land on his forehead there. I think he's hit his head really badly. That conjured the whole of the vertebrae, and he could be in a lot of trouble. Hacksaw's got to get back into this match.
Now it looks as though this battle is now expanding and has drawn in Hulk Hogan.
Well, it's certainly taken a different slant here.
Now General Adnan getting involved. And this match on the verge of being totally out of control. Referee Dave Hebner trying to get some semblance of control here, but losing the war. Here we go. Sergeant Slaughter now out after Hulk Hogan. Hacksaw Jim Duggan still in the ring. And watch it, your lordship.
Well, there's not much Hebner can do about what's going on the outside. We've all got to be careful here. Heenan, our broadcast colleague who's putting this out on the Armed Forces Network, is up off his feet. Oh, look at this! The electric cord around the Hulkster's throat.
All this taking place right in front of us. Hulk Hogan now being choked by the camera cable. I don't know how you stayed in your chair, your lordship.
Well, fortunately, Gorilla Monsoon is between myself and him, and you are a little bit further away, so I guess we're lucky to stay out of that one. Not as lucky as the Hulkster, though.
Sergeant Slaughter wanted to get Hulk Hogan away from this matchup. He has succeeded, at least for the moment,
well,
of knocking the Hulkster out of it.
If the Hulkster gets to his feet, do you see him staying out of this one, Sean?
Not for a second.
Look at the spirit, the courage of the Hulkster.
And Hacksaw Jim Duggan in real trouble now. Hulk Hogan has grabbed the 2x4. Into the ring, he's got Hacksaw, the camel clutch. Hulk Hogan nails Sergeant Slaughter from behind with that piece of lumber. Let's see if Hacksaw can capitalize. That was unseen by the referee, Lord Alfred Hayes.
The referee's attention was completely diverted. as Hulkster came in, and now the sergeant in the small of the back with a 2x4, and that's had its effect upon the sergeant. He cannot recover.
Hulk Hogan trying to bring Hacksaw to. Screaming at him.
He's really clobbered the sergeant. He's like a piece of rubber in the ring. No strength in his legs or his body at all. Look at this. Hacksaw nearly on his feet. And the referee's still counting. That count going on relentlessly. Look at the sergeant.
Sergeant Slaughter pops up, but only for a second before he goes back down. And both men really out of this match.
Well, I believe that the fact that the sergeant did get to his feet stopped the count, but only temporarily. And look at this!
Hacksaw makes the cover. General Adnan comes in, breaks it up. And Hulk Hogan not about to stand idle while this is going on.
Hulk in there with the 2x4. Hebner out the way. Look out! Oh, what was that?
Looked as though General Adnan had some salt in his hand. He got Hulk Hogan right in the eyes with it. And now both General Adnan and Sergeant Slaughter out to punish Hulk Hogan. Sergeant Slaughter over to Hacksaw Jim Duggan, beating him repeatedly.
Oh, the sergeant mercilessly pounding away their Hacksaw. And even their flag has come into play here against the Hulkster. Both of them unable to do anything, completely at the mercy of the sergeant and the general.
They're using anything they can get their hands on. That Iraqi flag now being driven into the throat of Hulk Hogan.
What was the verdict here? Not that it seems to be necessary. Sergeant waving his colors. He's won the match. He's the winner.
A lot of blue shirts in the squared circle trying to get things back under control.
But we haven't had the referee's final decision on this, the official decision. My word, look at that. Adnan chopped one of our officials.
These referees should know better that...
Boy, you cannot tangle with big 300-pounders like that.
Especially two individuals like General Adnan and Sergeant Slaughter who have absolutely no regard for the laws of the WWF.
The only thing I can say here is that the champion Sergeant Slaughter has got to be very careful. He could have to answer to the president here of the WWF, Jack Tunney.
Well, they almost got both men away from the ring, but now Sergeant Slaughter trying to get back in there, going up to the top rope before he is once again cast out.
What a fight this has been, Sean, before the match, during the match, and now even after the match. What a struggle, what a titanic struggle for superiority this was.
And it looks at this point as if, well, here's the official word. Lord Alfred Hayes, I would say that is a very bittersweet announcement. Hacksaw Jim Duggan declared the winner as the result of a disqualification. But I would say that he is not going to be pleased.
I don't think he's going to be too pleased with that result, especially as he got this real clobbering at the hands of Sergeant Slaughter and that fellow, General Adnan. However, they are going to get the privilege, the great, great privilege of raising the red, white, and blue, Old Glory, the colors of their own country.
Well, a very brave move on the part of General Adnan as he comes out to retrieve the championship belt.
Oh, look at this!
And that turns out to be a very big mistake on his part.
What happened to the sergeant? Did he just turn tail and run?
I think he's in the foxhole, staying away from the fire.
Oh, look at Dave Hebner, clean over the top rope. He's out of it. And that leaves Adnan completely at the mercy of Hulk Hogan.
Well, you can imagine just how enraged Hulk Hogan is. The superstar usually has a great deal of respect for the referees, just cast him aside, and now it is a little bit of revenge for Hulk Hogan and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. General Adnan limps back into the locker room area. This is what we have been waiting to see. Red, white, and blue in the ring. Both Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Hulk Hogan.
And now a lot of jubilation in this hall as Slaughter trying to get back in again and spoil that victory parade.
Obviously, he saw the way General Adnan was treated when he came out to retrieve the belt.
And I don't think he really wants to get back in there, especially when Duggan has the Hulkster by his side. Yes, we know, Sergeant, you're the champion.
We'll see for how long.
Absolutely.
How much longer can Sergeant Slaughter hold on to that belt? And you have someone like Hulk Hogan in hot pursuit. Certainly one of the proudest Americans in the World Wrestling Federation. He's got his arm around another.
Hulk Hogan, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Tell me, Sean, is that what they call superstars and stripes?
Forever.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan here, and it's important that I pick out just the right piece of lumber. This is my special lumber pile made out of USA timber from the great Northwest. And I think this piece will do just great. Now I have to have it cut to my special specifications. It's already been treated with a special recipe, but nobody Hacksaw Jim Duggan knows. Now let's go chop some wood. Woody! Woody! Hey, Woody! Are you down there? Woody! Hey, where's Woody? Woody! Hey! Woody! Hey, Woody! Has anyone seen Woody?
Hacksaw!
Hey,
I
Woody!
haven't seen you in a dog
How
day.
you doing? Good to see you.
Terrific.
This is Woody. He owns Woody's Lumber Yard here, and he's the only one I let cut my USA lumber. Woody, let's cut some wood. X marks the spot. All right, it feels good. Nice, clean cut. Sounds good. Now let's check for aerodynamics. Oh, you got it, tough guy.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way with his manager, Mr. Fuji. Weighing in at 280 pounds, here is Smash!
Whether involved in tag team competition or a one-on-one confrontation, Lord Alfred Hayes' Smash is one very dangerous individual.
He is indeed a powerful, powerful man. Mr. Fuji has every right to be proud of this tremendous crusader in the ring.
And his opponent, making his way toward the ring.
You talk about being proud, Lord Alfred Hayes.
New York, here is Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Proudly waving the red, white, and blue. No one better represents America here in the WWF than Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And he has become the unofficial spokesman for the armed forces.
You know something, Sean? Old Glory and Hacksaw Jim Duggan go hand in hand.
Well, as does the World Wrestling Federation in Coliseum Home Video. Because we have a very special exclusive matchup here. One-on-one, Smash taking on Hacksaw.
And Coliseum Video, of course, giving us a chance to get a real close-up on the Hacksaw, the most charismatic wrestler there is within the ranks of the World Wrestling Federation.
A lot of proud folks here in Cedar Rapids. I was just going to say, you have to keep in mind a very dangerous element at ringside in this battle, Lord Alfred Hayes.
Yes, he sometimes is more than just a catalyst on the outside. He sometimes takes an active part. One hopes that Hacksaw Jim Duggan is up to that double threat.
Two superstars lock up, and both go right after one another. Despite the fact that Smash spent a great deal of time in tag team action, he's not made many friends among the singles ranks.
No, he hasn't, but he is a great singles wrestler just the same. Hacksaw Jim Duggan has a really big task on his hands here today. The point is, can he overcome that.
Well, these are two very powerful individuals. And Smash, who's known to use a questionable tactic here and there, took advantage of that weakness part of Hacksaw as the referee told him to keep his arms up. Clothesline from Hacksaw, down goes Smash, and again. And a third clothesline. Forces Smash to get out of the ring and talk it over with Mr. Fuji.
Yes, blistering speed there by Hacksaw Jim Duggan. 3 great clotheslines on the chop, and that forced, of course, Smash to come outside, going to a little conference with Mr. Fuji. Also a tribute to the conditioning of Smash is that he's actually on his feet and very alert, back inside the ring.
Can't imagine too many men who could stand up to 3 clotheslines from Hacksaw Jim Duggan in a row. And now look at this flurry of punches. Big right to finish it off, nearly finishes Smash.
Sean, I believe it's unusual for us to see Smash on his back on the canvas so quickly in a match, and so much as Smash has been.
Good move there, holds on to the rope. And now it's Smash on the offensive. Hacksaw, a little bit of trouble.
Yes, Hacksaw was a little too quick, I believe, getting up there. He should have used a little more ring tactics and savvy. Stayed down for just a count. Look at this.
Mr. Fuji comes in with a cane, choking away on Hacksaw. Referee Joey Morello never saw it.
And Hacksaw now just to help
Now he
his
becomes
victim.
suspicious, a little late.
It really is, and his back is turned. And Smash taking full advantage of every opportunity here to finish off Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Big right drops Hacksaw. Top of the head.
And once
Now
Smash gets
twisting
on
away.
top, once Smash gets on top, he's completely relentless. He's a good front runner, and he really smells a victory coming up here. Fuji behind him, Hacksaw in a great deal of trouble.
What, Alfred Hayes, if we get into some time in this encounter, do you foresee Smash having any problems? The fact that this is singles competition, and his partner, Crush, is not at ringside to help him out.
Well, he does seem to have overcome that adversity. He hasn't looked around at all.
Here's a cover.
He hasn't
Only
looked
for 2.
Absolutely. He hasn't looked for any reassurance from the corner, only from Mr. Fuji. So I would say he's coping very well indeed. Oh, beautiful leg drop.
Drops it across the throat. Here's a cover from Smash again.
And Hacksaw showing us what he's made of now. A lot of courage, a lot of grit, determination there by the Hacksaw. He's got to hang in and weather this very, very severe storm.
Very perilous looking shot there. You saw Fuji just waiting for him to get close to the ropes. Smash holding on to the head of Hacksaw. But can't hold on. Hacksaw gets up. So he opts to just run him into the turnbuckle.
And the crowd here trying to will Hacksaw back into this match, but he really has taken a lot of punishment now, and things are looking very black, very grim for Jim Duggan.
Smash defiantly taunting the crowd, and that little lapse gave Hacksaw a second to recover.
Oh, tremendous right, left, and a right, and a left. Aha!
He recovers in a big way, now up on the second rope. Crowd answers back. And Hacksaw answers them with 3 good rights.
And the way that Hacksaw can make those tremendous physical comebacks is such an exciting facet to this man's attributes. Look at him. You wouldn't think he'd been hurt at all. What a great, great man he is.
Spinning body slam. At the very least, Smash is disoriented.
He's got his back turned to Smash.
Smash coming up to get Hacksaw from behind, and his ploy backfires as Hacksaw gets him with his own devious method. First smash tried to come up behind Hacksaw as Mr. Fuji distracted him. But Jim Duggan saw it coming and just did the reverse, and it's Smash who falls victim. And this mistake on the part of Smash cost him this battle.
It cost him dearly because Hacksaw Jim Duggan was a very worthy victor in the end. He took a lot of punishment, but he got there. A great victory for Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Where are we? Ha! Here it is. Now I know where we are. We're ready for a match involving a superstar who also happens to be the host of Coliseum Video's next release, WrestleFest 91. He's the Macho Man Randy Savage. Let's take a look at an encounter that features the World Wrestling Federation champion at the time, the Ultimate Warrior, as he defends the belt against the Macho Man. Can't wait to see this.
Being accompanied to the ring by his manager, Sensational Queen Sherry from Sarasota, Florida, weighing 245 pounds, the Macho King, Randy Savage.
Royal couple in all their splendor. The Macho King Randy Savage and his queen, Sensational Sherry.
And what a change she's made on the career of Randy Savage. She's given him all that encouragement, and he's back again, a new man in the ring, full of endeavor, full of spirit, and he's really going to show the Warrior the way home here today.
Well, your lordship, I would say the King's a little greedy these days, not only looking to add to his collection, he wants more gold, championship belts, but he wants the title back. He's going to have one very difficult task.
I don't think so. I disagree with you. This man is going to come unstuck here. He's going to receive such an incredible
The
amount
Ultimate
of...
Warrior does not even wait for the announcement. Starts to take the Macho King apart as soon as he reaches the squared circle. They barely had time to get the belt out of the ring. Sensational Queen Sherry attempting to help the Macho King, but it will do no good. Hard into the corner. And what an exclusive matchup we have here for Coliseum Home Video, Lord Alfred Hayes. All part of the second annual battle of the WWF Superstars. Well, this is going to be a war.
Oh, really? Here are two of the brightest superstars the World Wrestling Federation has ever experienced. But I must say that right in the beginning, the Ultimate Warrior cheated very, very badly indeed here. He broke every rule there was. He came in and attacked Savage from behind, and I really don't think the referee should have allowed that to happen.
Clothesline after clothesline. The Macho King laid out on the canvas. And the Ultimate Warrior has just been devastating so far in this encounter. All the way up goes the Macho King as he is military pressed by the Ultimate Warrior. Then savagely drops to the canvas. There's the splash, rolls him over. Oh, I am astounded. The Macho King really offered little resistance here against the Ultimate Warrior.
Sean and Meyer, amazed, absolutely flabbergasted and shocked. I've never seen that happen to Savage before. I don't know how it could happen. There must have been something wrong with him.
It looked as though he was humiliated or something. He ran out of here. Here's the decision. Lord Alfred Hayes, I'm sure you would agree with me. It did not seem like the Macho King we were used to seeing inside the squared circle. Nonetheless, the Ultimate Warrior retains the championship in this exclusive matchup. As I'm sure you have now realized, when it comes to battle in the ring, there's often little regard for rules. You'll certainly find clear evidence of just that in this next matchup featuring Tugboat, who takes on the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Self-proclaimed $1 Million champion, Ted
quite sure what the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase has to laugh about these days.
If I were as rich
His
as
former
he,
bodyguard has
I would
told
be
him he'd
laughing.
had enough. What were you saying, Your Lordship? If you had his money, you'd
Yes.
still be laughing?
I'd still be laughing, yes.
You know, money isn't everything. It helps, but it's not everything.
It surely helps in a very, very big way, believe me.
And his opponent, making his way toward the ring, weighing in at 384 pounds, here is Tugboat!
Well, guaranteed it is not money that brings the most pleasure to the sailing superstar Tugboats. First of all, it is all the folks here in Savannah. And second is great competition here in the WWF, and he is going to certainly find it in this battle. He anchors Ted DiBiase twice with 2 good clotheslines. We have really set sail for action in this battle, Lord Alfred Hazen, and that is the last one.
No,
No
I
more.
hope so. I can't stand those. Look at him, he's taking his attention off, though, of DiBiase. Well,
Double axe handle from the $1 Million Man has little effect at all on Tugboats. That doesn't deter the $1 Million Man one bit. Keeps up the offense. We better get on the defense, though.
I think so. He's allowed the $1 Million Man 2 reprisal blows at him. And you can only do that for so long with Ted DiBiase. He is a devastating wrestler. Tugboat, though, at the moment, impressing me and everybody else here.
The $1 Million Man's money not helping him at this point, Your Lordship, unless he can slip some money to the referee, but he can't even get a timeout.
I was rather surprised he didn't try and buy Tugboat out of this match.
Oh, don't think he probably didn't. Or attempt.
Tugboat, a huge 400-pounder, but he's not a ponderous wrestler by any means. He's very nimble on his feet, very light. He can move around the ring. He knows a great deal of the artistry of wrestling. He really is a splendid performer, but here against DiBiase, he may be a touch out of his class.
Well, the $1 Million Man clearly has established himself as one of the most skilled wrestlers in the WWF. But when you are going up such a massive superstar like Tugboats, that certainly equals things out. Reverse by Tugboat. Elbow connects directly to the chin. But then Tugboat misses with the elbow. Fortunately for Ted DiBiase.
I would keep my eye very carefully on Ted DiBiase if I were Tugboat. DiBiase is a master of deception, and he can let you think that you're right on top of him, just like that, for example, and he will bait a trap and lure you right into it. And I believe he did that first off with Tugboat, and he certainly did here.
There's Tugboat in a tough position now, drives him hard into the steel ring steps.
Very aware of what's going on, DiBiase rolled into the ring to break the count. Referee's taken up the count again, so I wouldn't be surprised if DiBiase does exactly the same maneuver again.
And a good shot there as Tugboat is driven once again into the steel alongside the apron. A little message there for his former bodyguard.
I think this time the referee is giving a lot of tolerance and showing that tolerance for Tugboat, I should say, who was having difficulty getting back inside the ring. A good decision on the part of Joey Marella, our referee.
Stretches Tugboat across the second rope. The referee continues to count, keeps asking for a break of 5. And you mentioned before how well aware of things Ted DiBiase was during an encounter. How he knew when just to get in to break the count. And they're using every second to use a rather questionable move. Hard clothesline. And the shoulder takes down Tugboat as he follows it up. Fist to the forehead.
Superb wrestling here on the part of DiBiase. He is giving away a lot of weight, but certainly nothing in experience and expertise.
And your lordship, boy, does he walk the line. He seems to know just how far he can go with a referee.
You're right there, Sean. He does indeed. Maybe just a little bit too much at that moment, flirting with the danger of the disqualification. He's doing that again.
Got a count of 2. But then he was catapulted off Tugboat, but that wasn't enough to stop Ted DiBiase. He came right after Tugboat. Once again, choked him at the bottom rope there.
Tugboat floundering in heavy water. Sorry about that, Sean.
Thought we agreed we were going to stop that.
Yes, we did.
And now this battle ensues outside of the ring. This time, Ted DiBiase's move backfire. And he's the one who ends up connecting with steel. And some devastating shots to the jaw of Ted DiBiase. And some rough waves on the arena floor right now.
I thought we agreed not to use those. Tugboat showed a lot of courage there. He did indeed. And he's got himself back into this match again. Not with all the authority he had a short time ago, but he's certainly in a commanding position right at this very instant.
Not only is he getting the better of Ted DiBiase, but I'd say the sailing superstar is a little angered at some of the tactics Ted DiBiase used earlier on. Now he is extracting his revenge.
And that is the best way to use that superior weight and strength and power that obviously Tugboat. But look at this, he's
arguing
allowing
with the
attention.
referee. $1 Million Man slips in his $1 million dream, but looks as though he's having difficulty getting it all the way around that massive neck. That Tugboat alertly drives the self-proclaimed $1 million champion hard into the corner to break free. Ted DiBiase slips out of the way, comes with a roll-up here. And what an incredible move on the part of the $1 million Man, Ted DiBiase.
The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Your Lordship, you had a very surprised look on your face when the $1 Million Man ducked out of the way of a charging Tugboat.
I think it was a move of desperation. It wasn't as if he baited a trap like a piece of cheese for a mouse. It certainly wasn't that. I think this was a very lucky victory indeed for the $1 Million Man. Tugboat in no way disgraced. Even so, it goes as a victory for that wealthy, wealthy gentleman there, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Some might cost a little.
I know it's around here somewhere. Ah! That's what I've been looking for. Coliseum Video's Tag Team Match of the Month. It's set for a massive battle. It features the Legion of Doom teaming up with the British Bulldog. Together, they're going to take on the Power and Glory and the Warlord. There's going to be a lot of action in this one.
The following six-man tag team contest is scheduled for one fall. Entering the ring with their manager, the Doctor of Style, Slick. Weighing a total combined weight of 832 pounds. Here are Power and Glory and their partner, the Warlord.
Dr. Style Slick profiling his entire stable.
Introducing first, weighing a combined weight of 572 pounds, and hailing from Chicago, Illinois. Here are Hawk and Animal, the Legion of Doom.
Whoa. I would say the Legion of Doom would gladly take on all three members of Slick's camp, the Warlord, as well as the Power and Glory, but they are going to have some help today.
They are indeed, in the form of Davey Boy Smith, the powerful young Englander.
What a matchup we have here, Lord Alfred Hayes. It's tough to keep up with all the action in the six-man tag team battle. And when you consider the superstars involved in this one, better hold on tight.
Sean, we are probably looking at the 6 strongest men, not only in the World Wrestling Federation, but probably in the world. I don't think you could get 6 more men from anywhere else and have such a combination of power, strength, force and might like these 6 particular men. Look at each one individual. Look at the Animal, look at Hawk, look at Davey Boy, then go across the ring and look at Hercules, look at Roma, and finally look at that other awesome individual, the Warlord. Have you ever seen an assembly of might and power like that, Sean?
Not all at once in the ring, Lord Alfred Hayes. And Hawk apparently has drawn the short straw. He's the first one elected to go into the squared circle for his team. And Paul Roma, I don't know if I can say, has won the honor of locking up with him, but
well,
he steps in first for his side.
He's certainly showing heart and courage to step into the ring. He elected to go in himself, and very quick to open up an attack.
He takes it to Hawk. Hawk reverses, misses with a clothesline, but as Roma comes off the ropes, he lands right in the arms of the incredible superstar. Now Hawk goes up to the top rope. Roma trying to get to his feet.
This may be all over right now. And, oh, no.
Hawk misses with a clothesline. Roma alertly ducks.
For a moment there, Sean, I didn't think we were going to see the other 4 men come into play at all, but Roma a little too quick for that. Very, very alert indeed. Hawk may have made a fatal mistake there. Maybe we're not going to see the other 4 men come into play.
Several boots to Hawk and an elbow have little effect. Hawk with a standing drop kick. And Roma shaken. Got a quick glimpse. Hawk stays right after him. Hercules comes over to tie him up. It gives Roma enough time to reestablish his offense. Whoa.
And that's his
See the height on
weapon.
That drop kick.
Oh, what a standing drop kick. Nobody else in the World Wrestling Federation does it better than that.
Roma puts his head down. Pays a dear price. Hawk just snaps his head as he lands on the canvas. Keeps it up, follows it up with a headbutt. Drags him to his feet again, has the wrist lock on. Here's the first tag. Then comes Animal. And Roma really taking the punishment now. Pounding away. But Animal just shakes it off.
Oh,
and in comes a Warlord. Now here is a matchup.
Wow. Now, 2 of the most powerful men I have ever laid eyes upon. Animal and Warlord.
Animal into the ropes. They meet in the center of the ring. 2 body blocks and 2 walls. Don't move.
What a collision.
Get to the midsection. Warlord reverses, misses with a clothesline. Animal drives one in, but has to go with a flying clothesline to take down the Warlord.
Oh, he actually knocked Warlord off his feet, but he didn't knock him out. Warlord was able to avert a disaster there. Look at Hercules.
Hercules trying to chop down this mighty oak, and a 3rd clothesline accomplishes his goal. Animal as he comes out of the corner. Brings up a clothesline and down went Hercules. Now we see for the first time the British Bulldog. Elbow right to the chest.
Tremendous timing by the British Bulldog, but he put his head down. A mistake against Hercules, a veteran wrestler who knows precisely what to look for, the chinks in the armor, and he exploited one there. Warlord in now to finish the Englander off.
One elbow after another. And the British Bulldog now in trouble. Well, no love lost between these 2 superstars, and Warlord has long claimed that he is the strongest man in the WWF. Hauls up the Warlord for a power slam. And the Bulldog has been waiting a long time for this opportunity. Oh.
Warlord's got him pinned and the referee not looking.
couldn't quite see it clearly, but did Paul Roma slip in there and grab the leg?
He did indeed. And that was almost the end of that particular match there for the British Bulldog. A trifle lucky, I think, to escape.
Davey Boy Smith getting set to deliver that power slam. Paul Roma swept the leg out, and the Warlord nearly got the pin. Roma checks back in and plans to take advantage of the fact that the British Bulldog is in trouble.
Some really good tag team moves here by Power and Glory and the Warlord. They're changing so well, using that 5-second cushion, and they're really making an example of what they can do to somebody as defenseless as a knocked-out British Bulldog.
See the force that Davey Boy Smith went into that corner. And a good look as Hercules continues the attack.
Once again, great tag team tactics here by Power and Glory. I'm afraid the tactics of LOD, Legion of Doom, and the British Bulldog are not comparable, Sean.
And although they may not be well liked among the tag team ranks, they are certainly respected.
And this is an awesome blistering attack here on the British Bulldog. They've cut the ring off, and only now does the Bulldog attempt to make a tag, but he can't do that. Warlord in now.
Double axe handle as they continue to pound away on the back of the British Bulldog. You can imagine how much work that takes, considering just how massive broad back of Davey Boy is. Trying to lock in the full Nelson.
And this is the hold that Warlord has beaten everybody with. He has that great power, but look at the Bulldog fighting back.
Trying to break free. And look at the tremendous upper body strength of both superstars. Who will win this war? Davey Boy breaking free, but before it can happen, Paul Roma and Hercules come in. Hawk and Animal are not about to stand for that, and now it's an all-out brawl in the squared circle. And I think we both knew, Lord Alfred Hayes, sooner or later this was going to happen.
I think we did. I think we really had that feeling about this match. The referee didn't have a chance to control that. Let's get the official verdict.
The referee's official decision. A double disqualification.
Well, not too much settled in this matchup. Although it is the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, as well as the British Bulldog, who are still in the ring. So if we're going to give any kind of moral victory, I would say that threesome would take it.
Well, I don't know. I might have to disagree a little bit about that, Sean. It appeared to me that for long periods of time, Power and Glory and the Warlord held the upper hand.
Well, it seemed for a second there it wasn't over yet, as Slick, along with Paul Roma, Hercules, and the Warlord, looked as though they wanted to mix it up outside the ring, but this battle is over, and it was a great match nonetheless.
Well, that about wraps up the second battle of the WWF Superstars. I want to thank you again for volunteering. Be sure and keep an eye out for Coliseum's next video release, WrestleFest 91. Until next time, I'm Sean Mooney. Easy, Henry. How about I drive?